12, and we won again in 1915, 1916, and 1918. We had this great left-handed pitcher by the name of George Herman Ruth. Anybody know that name? Babe Ruth, exactly right. So after all of those early wins, we decided that it just wouldn't be fair if the same team kept winning over and over again. So we decided that we were going to take a little bit of a break, okay? Hey, George? We decided maybe 5, 10, 86 years would make up for it, okay? Right? Not a chance. What was that 86-year time period called that the Red Sox could not win a World Series? The curse of the Bambino, exactly right. The little known fact around here in Boston is that we don't actually blame Babe Ruth for the curse. If there's anybody to blame, it's a man named Harry Frazee. Harry Frazee was the owner of the Red Sox back then, and he and the Babe did not get along very well. The Babe was a party animal. He was out of the town every night. He was showing up late to work. And he went to Harry Frazee and said, I don't want to pitch anymore. I want to be an everyday hitter, and I want you to double my salary. Harry Frazee does the only thing he can think of to do. He puts Babe Ruth up for auction. Well, the highest bidder back then still happens to be the highest bidder today. And who is that? The New York Yankees. Babe Ruth went to the New York Yankees for $100,000. Okay, that was unheard of for a single player back then. But Harry Frazee does not stop there. He then goes on to sell 13 of our other championship team players to the New York Yankees. What's up with that? He gets $25,000 for those 13 players. Of that $125,000 he gets for pretty much selling off the championship team, not a dime comes back here to Fenway Park and the Red Sox. You see, Harry Frazee has another passion. It's Broadway musicals. Seems about right, huh? So we lose all of that money because he dumps it into a play called No, No, Nanette. Anybody heard of that before? Anybody seen it?
No.
That's right. No, nobody went to see No, No, Nanette. It was a total flop. So Fenway Park doesn't look like it does today. Back then, these red seats that you see in the lower seating bowl here, they used to be wooden benches. And back then, you were allowed to smoke in the ballpark.
Yes.
A fan was careless with this, with his cigar, left it lit under one of these wooden benches. This place goes up in flames. We don't have enough money to fix it. We have to leave these seats charred and burned for 7 years. We scrounge up enough money to buy some rope. We rope it off, and we call it extended foul territory for that decade, okay? Now, we call the 1920s the lost decade because after Babe and those other players left the team, we went from being one of the best teams in baseball history to being one of the worst teams in baseball history, okay? In the 1920s, we came in dead last 7 times. If we weren't last, we were next to last. There were several seasons where we lost more than 100 games. So we like to fast forward through the 1920s. 1933 rolls around. A young millionaire from South Carolina comes up to Boston. His name is Tom Yawkey. Tom Yawkey, the millionaire many times over, earned all of his money the old-fashioned way. He inherits every penny. So he's up in Boston. It's his 30th birthday present. He came into about $40 million of inheritance. He decides that he's going to shell some of that out by the Fenway Park and the Red Sox. He shells out $1.2 million to buy the ballpark and the team, okay? Now this is the Great Depression, 1933, so $1.2 million is a lot of money to be thrown away on baseball. People thought he was nuts, right? But he decides that he's also going to renovate the place. So he spends an additional $1.5 million and gives us what we have here at Fenway Park today. 3 things Tom Yawkey does. First thing, the green bleacher seats. He puts in the bleacher seats enclosing the ballpark. But Mr. Yawkey is a smart businessman. He does not want people buying those 5-cent bleacher seats and sneaking over here to sit in the 10-cent grandstand seat. So what does he do? He completely separates the bleachers from the rest of the ballpark. See how there's that gap from the bleachers to the grandstands over here? No facilities, no restrooms, no concessions out in the bleachers. If you have a bleacher ticket and you want a hot dog and a Coke, you have to hand your money through that chain link fence to a stranger and hope that they come back with your snack. Just the way it is out in the bleachers, okay? The second thing that Mr. Yaki does is put in the grandstand seats, the very seats that you are sitting in right now. They go from the golf sign, they wrap all the way around the park to under the retired numbers in right field. You are sitting in the oldest seats in all of baseball. They're wooden. They have the iron armrests. Anybody comfortable? Anybody's knees in the seat in front of them? Absolutely. I want you guys to take your right hand, put it down by your right ankle. Go ahead and do that. You just found your cup holders. That's right, they don't exist. And guess what? These seats are here to stay forever, all right? These seats have been grandfathered in under the Major League Baseball seating standards and the 1934 fire codes. If we ever replace these seats, we'd have to widen the seats. We would have to shorten these rows. We would have to put more aisles all the way around the park. We would lose 3,000 seats if that happened. Not gonna happen. We're already the 4th smallest ballpark in the country. The seats are here to stay, all right? The third thing that Mr. Yaki does to Fenway Park is what we are most famous for here. What is that, you guys? The Green Monster, exactly right. So imagine 1933, from the foul pole to the flagpole out there, it's a small hill called Duffy's Cliff, nicknamed after our outfielder at the time, Duffy Lewis. Fenway was built within the existing city street, so on the other side of Duffy's Cliff is Lansdowne Street. On Lansdowne Street, there are business fronts and car dealerships. Now, we were in the dead ball era, so the baseballs were used a lot longer during the game. They saw more hits, more pitches. The stitching would come out, they would expand and kind of get soft. Have you ever seen a really old baseball get like that? So we didn't have a problem, right? But we moved to the live ball era. The baseballs are being rotated into the game more frequently. They're staying small, hard, and compact. You can guess what happens, right? All of a sudden, they're flying out over Duffy's Cliff and crashing through the windows of the brand new cars and businesses out on Lansdowne Street. The business owners, knowing Mr. Yaki was a millionaire, had no problem sending those broken glass bills right here to Fenway Park. Mr. Yaki hated this. He was sitting over here one game, several home runs went out over Duffy's Cliff, so he walked out there to see how much damage he was gonna have to pay for the next day. When he got out there, he saw something that makes him more mad than any broken window ever could. He saw fans sitting on the rooftops of those buildings watching his team for free. Not gonna happen anymore. You guys are looking at the biggest overreaction in all of sports. He builds the tallest and the longest wall that he possibly can. That wall is 37 feet, 2 inches high, 231 feet across. But Mr. Yaki does not stop there. He then puts a 23-foot high net on top of the wall, built for 2 reasons. 1, to keep the baseballs in, and 2, to keep any freeloaders out. What do you guys think? You want to go sit up on top of the monster? Yeah! We can do the whole tour from right here. Let's make that group a little jealous. You want to sit on the monster? Yeah!